All right, we are starting. Okay, so tonight we have Meighan Brodkey, a community cloud specialist, to sit down with us and actually talk to us. Because there are people who are willing to sit down and talk with us here on System Dot Debug.
No way. How did we get Meighan to sit down with us?
Believe it or not,
awesome.
Long story short, I reached out and said, "Hey, Meighan, would you come talk to us?"
We just asked.
Asked.
So before we get to Meighan, we do want to give a couple of shout outs there. We do want to mention, and there have been a lot of feedback. So there's nobody in particular that we are going to shout out individually. However, for all of you out there who have retweeted for us or written about us in your blogs or shared videos on your websites, we take notice of this. We are very, very appreciative of the community and what you're doing for us out there. And if there's ever anything that we can do or you feel like you'd like our help in, please always reach out to us at system.debug@gmail.com and let us know what you're doing in the community so that we can try to help you in that way. Another thing that I do want to bring up also is a reminder to submit any components you guys may have built that you want demoed here on System.Debug. We have a deadline of March 4th, but really just as long as you submit us something and we can get a chance to look through it, that would be really, really great. Also, I believe Ryan has some news.
Oh, me. Maybe. Yes, I have news, and it's not the weather. Starting March 5th, I will be taking a new position. If you haven't heard or seen on the Twitters, I will have a new title. I'm going to Salesforce.org, and I will be known as, let me see if I get this right, Lead Member of Technical Staff K-12 Architect. So excited to kind of be beamed aboard the mothership there. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So the good news is with that, though, I still get to be co-host of System Dot Debug, and I still get to participate with Apex and the Limits. So hey, man, it's a win-win all the way around.
I'll give you that.
At least for me.
I'll give you
at least
that.
For me.
So Jared Taylor, I was hoping you were going to show up tonight because I brought out my scooters. These are all the scooters that are in my office, and I wanted to show them to you, Jarrett, because you showed us yours on Twitter. So thank you for that. And I noticed that. Ryan, I had a question for you. With that title,
yes.
How do they fit your name on your business cards?
I don't know, because I haven't got the business card yet.
Like, I feel like that's going to be pretty much the business card.
I don't know. I have a hunch that they'll get rid of the lead member or technical staff part. Boy, I fumbled over those words. And just do like K-12 architects. But I honestly don't know.
Maybe they'll make it an acronym. I mean, it's too soon for me to figure out what that is. There's far too many words.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll just be Ryan Headley, Salesforce human.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be.
Ryan Headley, Salesforce.org.
That's
it. That'd be fine.
There you go.
Ryan Headley Rockstar. I could totally see it.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Rockstar Ryan.
Oh,
I'll ask my new boss if I can just put that on my card in parentheses, Ryan Headley Rockstar.
RockstarRyan.org.
Woo!
I can make you some business cards if they say no, Ryan.
Oh, all right. I appreciate that.
So
no, I'm very excited to say that you guys will be stuck with me for as long as you'll have me as far as co-host. And I'm sure Rachel's, just excited as pleased that I'm going to be bothering her with Apex and the Limit stuff still too. So shout out to
Well, we're
Rachel.
all glad for you. Congratulations, Ryan. Congratulations. You really deserve it.
Very much. Thank you very much. And also, I want to take a moment just to thank anybody that tweeted at us their stand-up desk type setup. Jarrett Taylor was one of those because, man, that was some good inspiration. I don't have the stand-up desk here yet. Currently, my desk is a diaper changing table. So I haven't changed a diaper in 9 years.
Dad life.
Hey.
Hashtag
Dad life.
Dad life.
Ugh. All right. So yeah, let's enough about me.
Let's talk about Meighan.
Let's talk about Meighan.
So we have Meighan on our show today, and I'm going to gonna put her kind of front and center here.
Awesome. Hello.
Damn.
Hello.
So Meighan, you are a community cloud specialist. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. Right. I just started at Gears with that 2 weeks ago.
So
my new title.
Can you kind of real briefly define what that title means to us?
Yeah. So that means that all of my projects are about communities pretty much. I'm going to be running through communities from start to finish, doing the initial requirements, going through, getting all the tickets ready for the dev team, working with the dev team, doing all the configuration, setting up the templates, working with the clients, and really focusing on that one single cloud and not really going into, of course, communities focus on Sales Cloud and Service Cloud, but really I'm going to be focusing on communities and zooming into just that one area of Salesforce and becoming a specialist now and focusing on the thing that makes me the most happy, which are communities.
That's super cool. So you've been on the Salesforce platform for quite some time, right?
10 years.
How many?
10 years.
Wow.
10 years. My goodness, that's almost the entire time.
Boom.
Well, no, I guess not. Almost about half the time. Half the time.
Yeah.
About half the time.
That's still a long time, though. 10
Yeah,
years? 10 years to do anything, any one thing in particular is pretty impressive.
Yeah, 10 years to stay on a technology stack is a long time. So that's awesome. That goes
was
a long way
pretty
to
much-
talk about the platform. Sorry.
It's pretty much my first job out of college. Sorry about that, Ryan.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Totally stoked. I was having a job that I wasn't too into, and Salesforce.com, back when they still had red as their color instead of blue and clouds. They were hiring, and I was like, I've never heard of them, but I'll apply. And it was fabulous. Did a pilot project as a CSM, and then I became an admin, then I became a dev, and now I'm a community cloud specialist.
So was your first job at Salesforce or on Salesforce?
So it was actually as at Salesforce on a pilot project. So I was a contractor with Salesforce for my very first job with Salesforce. So it was kind of backwards for everybody else.
It's kind of epic starting out at the mothership.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. That is cool. So you've kind of reversed my path as far as that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Except you've been on it twice
So
as
in the
long.
last 10 years, what would you say that you've liked the most about Salesforce then?
The fact that it's always changing, and that there's always more to learn, and then the fact that they've built the whole concept of a community. And, it's not just my job. It's become a career for me. It's something that I love doing every day. I don't feel like it's work. And on top of that, I get to learn something new all the time. They always have new releases coming out, and there's no way to learn everything. And so for me, having a job where I'm constantly challenged is exactly what I've always wanted. And that's definitely what Salesforce does.
I'll say.
Yeah.
Keeping up with all the changes, because it does. It changes fast, right? Wow.
For sure.
Yeah. I remember my first communities was back long before the Lightning stuff. And, it seemed like I closed my eyes for a little bit and then opened them up, and wow, we had the community builder and all this other stuff. I mean, yeah, it changes fast. The rules are a bit different around communities and stuff too. What I'm going to inject a question here is, what do you find most challenging about working with communities?
Making sure that people understand that their sharing is going to affect externally and people that are not inside their org. When they're thinking about their sharing settings, that's a big one. And then also getting them to realize, they're building a community, a place where it's set up so that people can connect with one another, where they can build brand ambassadors, where people can do self-service, and making sure that they're using that functionality like Chatter so that people can connect with one another and help each other. And, there are a lot of communities that go up that don't have things like Chatter, where people don't connect with one another, and it's more like a website. And getting people to realize that your customers can be your biggest help to your other customers is definitely a big thing too.
Cool. All right, sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to hijack. Go ahead. I know we kind of have like this document behind the scenes here that we're reading, and I'm not reading it because I'm watching the video instead.
It's a cheat sheet of questions.
It is a sheet of questions. A sheet of questions, by the way, provided by our
Nice.
Thinking of the title.
Yeah.
On the title. What do we call that guy?
I forgot what I call that guy. Hold on.
So anyway,
Wordsmith.
Wordsmith.
He's our wordsmith.
Resident wordsmith.
So we have a member on our team. His name is Tom Blameyer, and we blame him for quite a bit. I'm not even going to lie.
Absolutely.
Quite a bit. But right. So Tom has joined us as our and it's funny because I really need Tom right now, to tell you the truth.
Tell you words.
Tell me words. Tom does a very good job of telling me words. Tom does a lot of the stuff in the background, such as the questions that we're going to ask Meighan this evening, as well as many other roles and getting our message out there and helping with the website and everything like that. So Tom is a very integral part of the team, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that he is involved with this and to give him a shout out the next time you run into him. So
Thanks,
that
Tom.
digression aside, if you could go back to your Salesforce learning days, what would you tell yourself?
Probably to stop getting so frustrated and to use the community more. There were so many times before where I would sit there and I would go in circles and I would get frustrated before I would reach out for help. And I've gotten to the point where now when I get stuck, I ask for help right away rather than struggling. And I wish I would have done that in the beginning. If I would have relied on the fact that there are so many people out there to help before, I could have saved myself so much stress and so many nights staying up late and so many problems that, it would have made a huge difference.
That is, yeah. And that's honestly like the community is one of those things where I will admit I love going out and answering questions, but I have the hardest time asking them, right? And a lot of times I don't know if that's just a battle with like feeling like I could just figure out the answer anyway, or you don't want to steal people's code, or if it's just one of those situations where you kind of feel like, is this supposed to be an easy question, and I'm going to be embarrassed if I actually have to ask it. So I kind of go through all of those things, but I absolutely love answering questions on the community.
I ask a ton, to be honest. I mean, yeah, the community is the power. I mean, I've said it over and over again. It's the reason I'm still doing Salesforce is the community. So,
yeah, I think that's typical developer mindset too. Like engineer. I'm going to fix the thing. I'm going to build a thing, right? But then we mature, and just like Meighan, we eventually all end up realizing that asking questions is awesome.
And I'm at this point now. I will admit I have certain channels I ask questions in. Meighan, you'll be aware, like, I ask questions inside of our Ohana channels, inside of Twitter and other places, and you've definitely helped me out on quite a few occasions with a lot of those questions. I think it's the boards that, and I don't know if it's maybe deterring because I don't know how long it's going to be before I get a question. Typically, if I'm asking, it's not for my own personal sake. It's because I kind of need it right now.
Yeah.
And
that's a great segue because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Meighan, but there is a Slack channel out there called Salesforce Ohana. Am I correct?
Indeed, there is a Slack channel, a team out there called Salesforce Ohana Slack. And RJ and Brian are not part of it, but I know you're.
That's not true. I am so a part of it. I am 100% a part of the Ohana Slack channel.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, salt in the womb.
Oh, I got schooled.
Ouch. Go on, brush your shoulder off.
Yeah, I'm lurking super. I am definitely not active in there. I read because I'm terrified to answer a question. But yeah, there haven't been any that I can answer. Let's just say that. Let's be real.
Yeah, and Jarrett Taylor just chimed in on the channel here and said it's the greatest resource ever. And I tell you what, I love I love all the different channels we use in the community. But there is a constant flow of questions and answers coming in and out of that Slack channel. And I believe Meighan is responsible for spinning that up. Are you not, Meighan?
So yeah, that's with Kevin, who I worked with previously, and we put the Slack team together. And I got to give a lot of props to Kevin for that too. So he's really the guy that was asking me why isn't out there yet. And I told him about Chatter and the success community. And he's like, but it takes so long to get an answer. And, everybody uses Slack at work and gets an answer right away. And so starting the Slack team was just an awesome resource. And it's so readily available and people are so helpful on there. I've gotten so much help from people, which, again, it's allowed me to ask so many questions as well and get help right away rather than sitting there and waiting around for the forums for when is somebody eventually going to answer this? And 2 years later, like, why has nobody answered this question? Like, did this guy ever get an answer? Like, you finally find that one dude that had that same question 4 years ago, and, like, nobody ever answered it. And it's like, what do I do? Like, can I find his number? Like, how do I call him?
Believe it or not, we actually have a community question for you right now, Meighan.
Oh, there is?
Yes, there is. There is right here. It's Blair, and Blair is wondering if we can say what IDEs we are currently using. And I think that's a great question for Meighan. Meighan, what is your IDE of choice?
So I actually use the How IDE, and it is an IDE available on Sublime. And I'm a huge fan. It's community built. There's this guy that built it. It's totally awesome. Tell you how to set it up on my blog. You can check that out as well.
And that's pronounced HAO, correct? Or I mean,
HAO.
It's
HAO IDE. And it's awesome. It lets you work with data and metadata, which is why I'm a huge fan.
I've seen that. I've seen that. I went the Maven's Mate route, but I had How in there for a while there, and then I just went the Maven's Mate, and now I'm in VS Code. But
I needed some help with something.
For documentation. That's my favorite. Like, oh, I'm stuck. Let me just pull up the documentation right here in Sublime.
Yeah,
I was actually trying to get object translation. Well, not translations, label translations, custom labels. And Meighan had recommended How to me as well in a previous conversation I had with her. And when I Googled on how to set it up, I'd gone to this blog, I'd follow this big blog, and then at the end, it was by Meighan Brodkey. And I was just kind of like, no joke, man.
Nice.
That's
Very
awesome.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was, like I said, it was a really neat. I mean, I used it for about a month until I ran across the Maven stuff, and then I started using that. But yeah, and then they've retired Mavens now, so I'm assuming How's still under active development. Then, right? I mean, it's still supported and everything. Awesome. Does it work with Lightning components?
Yeah, he actually just came out with updates for Lightning. So, and he's working on that more because he has more Lightning projects. So it's very exciting right now.
Very good.
That is super cool. So, Meighan, what is your favorite feature of Salesforce?
That's like a really hard question to ask. You know, there's so much out there. But I thought about this one for a while, and you know, there are so many different things I like. I love the fact that, you know, when Flow came out, it allowed me to realize, you know, just how dangerous of a developer I really was, and really how much there was that I could be doing wrong, and how much more I needed to learn. Big fan of Process Builder, and the fact that they're working on, you know, having bulkified things and making it so that you can actually have good processes in your org that aren't as harmful. Big fan of quick actions because they come in so useful in communities. Yeah, I might actually have to go with quick actions at this point in time, to tell you the truth, just because of how handy they are and the fact that you can have those preset values and determine which fields display. So yeah, I might go with that for right now. Don't quote me.
Final answer, quick actions.
She says, don't quote me while she is on air live. She's like, don't quote me, but I just said.
Say that out loud. Don't quote me.
Yeah. So we won't quote you, but you've been quoted now.
She's warning people not to quote her. You know.
For right now, they're quick actions. Let's go with that.
All right. What's been your career highlight so far?
You know, I guess my career highlight was actually getting over my fear of public speaking. So back in December 2016, I spoke in public for the very first time, Automation Hour webinar, and I had never spoken in front of people. Like, I was terrified to even speak in meetings in front of people. And I was able to do that. And since then, I've spoken at the World Tour, a couple of Dreamin' events, flew over to Ireland to speak at Surfforce, and then last year I spoke at Dreamforce. So it's just been pretty exciting to be able to do that and to be able to meet so many people and to be able to know that I can actually do things that I thought I was never able to do before.
Well, and you are a powerhouse in the industry. I don't think there's a single member of the System Dot Debug team that hasn't heard of you or heard from you at one point or another. And I know that it extends far beyond
the three of us.
Well, three of us, yeah. So do you have any Salesforce OCD habits? Like, you know, cascading formulas or not using ternaries or, yeah, Ryan, losing friends.
So I hate multi-select pick lists, and it better be on the change log. Like, stop doing things and not putting them on the change log. Like, that's my least favorite thing. I've had projects where all of a sudden you get to the point where I get put on the project later on and it's to the point of deployment, but I was never on the project before. And now nobody from the project is even at the company anymore. And it's like, well, what am I deploying? Like, and I was sitting there staring at a bunch of stuff in the org and I'm like, but what actually passed? Like, did this stuff actually pass build? Or do we build this and decide not to go forward with it? And so the change log and the multi-select pick list are the devil.
Amen.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't like programming for multi-select pick lists. outside of Apex input fields.
Yeah.
Like if I have to do anything
outside of Apex input, that's it. That's the only thing.
Please don't do this to me. You know what I mean?
Nothing else.
Or output.
If you're not typing, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I am not a fan of the multi-select pick list either.
Yeah, it's definitely evil. It's trash.
Gosh.
Get it out of here. You heard it here, Salesforce.
So
person accounts aren't so great either. Especially when, speaking of communities, when you've got a company that wants to set up a partner community and they have person accounts and you can't do it because you have to have an account with the partner community, and it's just trying to explain that to them. That's just
person accounts are driving me crazy right now. You couldn't just create a
Dude,
new
they're insane.
Like, create a new object. Let's not deal with this, okay? You have made accounts frustrating for me.
For real, dude.
Like,
For
really
real.
frustrating. Oh my gosh, it's like completely changed the way schema describe works, and I'm dealing with a big problem with it right now as well. If Salesforce had a feature you would like to... Okay, fine. I guess the question actually reads, what Salesforce feature would you like to see in the near future?
So I think you did a great job a couple of weeks ago with your whole polymorphic lookup field. That was pretty sweet. But one thing I would like to see Salesforce do is fix knowledge, and the whole data category. I see lightning knowledge is out, but once you turn it on, you can't turn it off. You can't have the multi-language thing going on. But if knowledge actually looked right in Salesforce, for one, and if it worked with record types instead of article types, and if we weren't dealing with the data category stuff being so confusing and how it relates to roles and not just the articles and all that, that would be so helpful. So incredibly helpful. And stop giving it its own fields that don't exist anywhere else. Just use notes and attachments or use files. Why are you making a file field? What is up with that? What? Why? So yeah.
I feel like this is Ryan's area, right? Like Ryan would know all about knowledge. No?
I've done a little bit with knowledge. It's funny. I don't have a lot of knowledge about knowledge. I really only had one client
knowledgeable.
I really only had one client that was using it so far in the 5 years that I've been a consultant and stuff on the platform. And it was always just this mystery box of stuff that felt thrown together for me. I don't like that. I mean, that's one thing that I think I just really don't like the way Salesforce handles things like documents and storage. And
they're like second thoughts. I hate to say it, but that's almost every single thing in that kind of space as far as Salesforce goes is a second thought. It's there. You just use it. You know what I mean? But we're not going to it's not our focus by any means. We've given it to you because you asked for it, but we personally don't really know how it works. Speaking of the polymorphic thing that I had presented a couple of weeks ago, though it's probably not what I would claim as my most badass, but what is your most badass thing you have ever created in Salesforce?
The most badass thing I ever created in Salesforce?
But badass isn't good, like a good thing.
Yeah.
Not
so I think probably the most complex thing I ever created was actually going a declarative route and trying to build it with Flow instead of doing it with Visualforce and code. We decided to. It seemed like a good idea at first.
Well, if other people could do
it. When thinking about it, thinking there was only one process that we were going to be doing, it seemed like this great idea. But as we dug more into it and the client saw it, we further discovered that there are actually these 3 different possible routes that you could take, and that in different situations, there were different ways that you had to go in the process. So the flow went from being this one, here you go, here you go, here you go, to being like this huge giant flow that was like all over the screen, and it
That's
had
when,
all
like,
these different paths
that's like
and a
when a phone call from
subflow.
Rakesh Gupta comes in handy, right?
Yeah.
When you get on the phone with like Rakesh Gupta, the work he's written like 6 books on workflows. I think he's the only person who could him and Jen Lee. Let's give her some credit because those two could declaratively solve any problems us developers could. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. And if you're on their level, then you can too.
And it was just pretty cool. Like just to be able to put it all together, and then when it worked. Like that was the exciting part. Like
that's the kicker
for every one of those processes. And once we got it into production, we got all the permissions right after a couple tries for all the profiles. So we got that to work too. It was very exciting.
So the non-code approach is the thing you're most proud of.
The fact that it took us as long as it did, and it took some trial and error. Yeah, I mean the amount of effort that went into it, and the fact that it was pulled off. Yeah, that was awesome.
So how long do you think it would have taken you to do the same project as a developer?
Like 2 weeks.
Shorter or longer?
Like
wow.
Half the time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years, Meighan?
In 10 years, so I'm hoping to still be working on the platform and to be part of the Ohana. Hopefully in 10 years, I'm going to be at a point where I'm still going to be working at smaller companies doing the consulting thing. I'm hopefully going to be at a point where I'm going to be at, management level, and I'm going to have a team that I'm working with, and still, working with everybody, training, helping out people with questions, and, still continuing to present and go to community events. So, yeah.
That is awesome.
Very good.
We've only got a couple of minutes here, and I really do want to say thank you so much, Meighan, for participating tonight. It's almost sad having you here and not in chat, but at the same time, like, it's absolutely amazing being able to talk to you outside of chat.
Yeah, she's one of our most active chatters.
Absolutely. Well, her and Jarrett. Like Jarrett's here every week. I like Jarrett. I'm cool with him. He's got my vote. He's got my vote, Jarrett.
You're okay with him now?
He's cool. Cool.
I'm glad you guys rank everybody in the chat. Good to know. We
don't. Yeah. But when there's only 2 people in there on a regular basis, it's kind of easy.
Yeah, and when one of those people we don't even know and they're just calling us names, then it's pretty easy to rank.
I feel like when you get trolled, you're legit. Like that's that moment for me. I saw that.
I wish I would have bet on that.
Someone trolled us. That's awesome. We're real.
We got trolled.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes you real, dude. I think you're thinking too hard into this.
No,
I think it makes you legit.
I sent it home to my whole family. I screenshotted it, sent it to my mom. I was like, proudest day of my life.
Okay.
Sent it to my mom.
Oh man.
Why am I dead?
My mom. Yeah, my mom has no clue I do this.
I wouldn't have brought that one up on the air, dude. Like,
I was thinking on this. Like, ooh.
It's not a Thanksgiving conversation.
Oh my God.
Mom, I get yelled at online by a 15-year-old.
I'm legit. That was the highlight of my life.
Oh boy.
Stick a fork in me, I'm done.
You guys.
Yeah, somebody cut him off quick.
Yes, somebody cut him off.
Oh.
Camera.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Meighan. As one of our biggest fans who's always in the chat, it's been great that now the rest of the community that's watching us can put a face with the name, because they've heard us say it many times. Oh, Meighan's asking this. Oh, Meighan's asking that in the channel. So everybody, this is the Meighan that we're talking about.
That's the one.
We're all 3 of us are her biggest fan together.
Aww.
The whole human.
As one.
As one. Together as one.
That's right.
How cute.
Oh my.
That's a lot more gross than cute, I think.
Thank you so much, you guys, for having me today.
Yes, and are we good? I just have to ask, not to put you on the spot, but I'm totally putting you on the spot.
Are we meeting up at Southeast Streaming?
Oh, I wish I was going to Southeast Streaming. No, that wasn't the spot question.
I think BJ and I will probably be there.
The spot question is: are we going to get a lightning component from you for our little lightning component thing?
Yes, you are. You are.
All right, cool. Do you hear that, Brian?
I sure did, and I'll be excited to get it.
There we
Awesome.
go. Cool.
And
All right, Brian.
everybody else, make sure you submit yours too, because we want to show off for your sake.
Yeah, we're not showing off. I'm not writing anything for it.
Blair wants to know if anyone's going to Trailhead X.
Ryan's going to Trailhead X.
I am not.
It's Trailhead DX. Say
Yeah,
Trailhead
See, I knew Megan was
DX.
going to say that because I saw that chat and I was like, oh, shoot, I said it wrong.
Yes,
Well, why
I
do
am.
we not spell
Trailhead
it that
DX.
way then?
Because
You
dude,
don't know. I'm not in
it's
charge of
it's
marketing.
part of the thing. It's part of the word.
Dude,
That's
it's
like all these
marketing.
companies putting
Reddit.
X at the end of anything. Our version X. You know, it doesn't make any sense.
It's marketing, dude.
Well,
Marketing.
Jared says he's going to be at Southeast Dreamin'. I'm pretty sure BJ's going to be at Southeast Dreamin'. Megan says she's going to be at Southeast Dreamin'.
RJ's going to be at Southeast Dreamin'.
I might if I can get a ticket.
Do it.
You should
Yeah.
buy one. We'll get you a ticket, RJ.
We will see you there.
I don't know how to buy stuff.
I don't know.
how to do
Money
that.
is the thing that's weird to me. I just have never
No,
done it
but
before.
the money thing is easy. I just don't even know where you go,
Go
to
to
get.
southeaststreamer.com and get your ticket, dude.
I'll
You
go
just
do that
made it
right
too
now.
easy for
There
him.
you go.
Now
He's
he'll
buying
never
the
do it.
ticket. Peer pressure.
Jeez.
Yes, I actually.
Jared's
going
gonna
to
be at
Trailhead
Southeast
DX
Dreamin'.
here.
Yeah,
Yes.
just
Who
say
is?
that, BJ.
Jared?
Gee,
Oh yeah.
Jarrett will be at Southeast Dreamin'.
Ryan just doesn't listen, man.
No, he's not paying attention.
What did I
He's-
say?
what? I have
We had
no
already said that.
Yeah, we said that, dude.
Yeah.
We were just talking about
We all
that.
went through that. You're a horrible listener.
But no, I will be at Trailhead DX. And I didn't think I was going to go, but now I'm going. So I'm doing that, and I'll be going to the Higher Education Summit the week before that in Washington, D.C. So I get to, like, cross the country, and I get one day at home, and then I'm back out for DX. So, yeah,
Super
I'll be
fun.
there, and I should have some stickers. I still have some stickers for the
Well,
show.
you better
so,
go find Blair.
Yeah, so y'all, if you find me, I'll give you a sticker. I'm still trying to figure out whether or not I'm bringing the cowboy hat. I probably am.
You
And
have
the
to.
guitar. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's required get up for you.
I
I
mean,
think it kind of is.
The cowboy
I'm
hat
almost
is
positive
mandatory.
you're the cowboy hat in the logo.
I was gonna say I agree with
Oh.
Megan on this one. The cowboy hat is actually mandatory. I'm not sure why we've gone through 31 shows without you wearing it.
That's a good. Well, the reason I don't wear it on the show is because I can't put my headphones on over the top of it.
But could you
That's
put
fair.
it on over the top of your headphones?
No, because
Might
then
stretch.
it's not. Yeah, it's not gonna work,
Oh.
man.
All right,
Yeah,
so
you don't
new
want
hat for
stretch
Ryan.
it.
We need a new hat for Ryan.
No, we do
All
not
right.
need a new hat.
All right,
We'll take
everybody.
care of this.
Thank you guys so much. Megan, you have a great night.
Thanks, Megan.
All right.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
guys
Thank
later.
you.
Have a good night, everybody.